Hey, everybody. It's Dr. Heather Deniston with the Junk You Should Know show in our usual Friday noon spot. I hope you're coming to join us. And when you do, give us a thumbs up or a hearts. I have an awesome interview today. I'm super, super excited. I have Dr. Justin Trosclair with me today. Hi, Justin.
Hello.
It's good to see you. Justin and I have a funny story as you're just kind of signing on. Justin has an awesome podcast. It's called A Doctor's Perspective, and you should check it out. In fact, I'll just put the note up here to tell you what to go look for. So it's an awesome podcast. So go check it out. And I was his interviewee a while back, and we interviewed one night late. He's in China. I was in Arizona, so I think it was at 10 p.m. or something, wasn't it, Justin? And we got through it. It was an awesome interview, and I crawl into bed and a text comes through and he's like, something went wrong on your side with audio. And I'm like, oh crap. So we did the whole thing over again, and it was just as fun the second time. So thank you for your patience on that, Dr. Justin. He's a professional, so there's no doubt in my mind that it was coming from my end. So check out his podcast. It's great. He interviews chiropractors and lots of other folks as well. And so certainly if you're a chiropractor, but also one of the things I love about you, Justin, is that when you interview, you go off script quite a bit in regard to asking some really great questions, personal questions, family questions, things that have to do with the real person, not just what they do. And I do love that about you. So you're an awesome interviewer. And so Justin finds himself on the other side of the mic today because I'm interviewing him. And it's way harder. It's way harder. I know I was interviewing Danielle Eaton the other day, and she has a podcast, and she's like, it's so weird being on this side. So funny. But anyways, welcome everybody. And hi, Linda, I see you there. Thanks for joining me today. And we are going to go ahead and get started. So we're with Dr. Justin Trosclair. We are talking about needleless acupuncture today. And funny story, I did some advertising earlier in the week about our show today, and Justin very kindly noted that I was putting needless acupuncture, like who needs acupuncture? And he was so kind to correct me very subtly in the comments that I might want to put needleless, not needless. And so we had a good chuckle about that. He's very patient with my dyslexia and spelling issues. Hashtag. Yeah, it was the hashtag that was wrong, wasn't it? Yep. But then I was telling him in all of my notes here, I was joking with my husband today that I did the wrong hashtag. I did needless, and I went through all my notes and I spelled needleless through all of my notes. So it's needleless, no needle. No needles. That's what we're talking about today. It's going to be very exciting because it's an unusual subject, but one that I think at the end of this show, you're all going to be very, very excited about. So, Dr. Justin, I want to start with just a little bit about your background. Now, you are in China. You are a chiropractor. What are you doing there?
Well, I'll keep it brief. I had a clinic in Colorado. I was doing all right, and eventually I was like, okay, I'm done with this. I sold my clinic, and I was like, okay, what else can I do? Maybe I can do research. No, chiropractic degree is a little bit small, and what I didn't want to do is start right back. Time constraints. It's hard to take off of work. I didn't have my 20-year-old, let's go to Europe, and go party. Yeah. So I said, okay, where else can I go? And, after about 7 years, you don't remember the intricate details of the kidney, and that's what you have to take to go to Australia and certain places in Europe.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I was like, oh no, I don't really want to have to restudy all of my basic sciences again that I never use.
Totally.
Yeah. So China shows up. I was like, there's 1 billion people there. There's a job that pays okay. I could travel, and I was like, well, let's just do that. Okay, let's do it. There's no extra boards, no Tesla. It's not the greatest, I just wanted to go and learn the ancient art of acupuncture that just turned into where it was, because I actually work in a hospital in the acupuncture, traditional Chinese medicine department.
Very cool. So kind of you have this interest in acupuncture. You are a chiropractor. You end up in this hospital in the acupuncture department, but practicing chiropractic, correct?
True.
but learning all about acupuncture right at ground zero, where it all began.
From the source.
From the source. And so that's where, and how long have you been doing that?
I'm on my 4th year.
Okay.
And we've had 4 different acupuncturists come through the hospital.
Okay, very cool. Well, I love that. And so with all of this newfound knowledge, you have put together an incredible resource called Needleless Acupuncture, and it's treatment for the 40 most common conditions, correct? Or 40 common conditions that you can work on with that. Is that how you would
Absolutely.
describe it? Great.
That's how I would describe it.
Good. Well, we're going to talk about that book in just a moment. But I have a question that I didn't prep you for, and that is this. As well, all professions, but particularly alternative care professions, we're pretty territorial of our area. And so how do you feel like acupuncturists are going to connect with the work that you're doing with this needleless acupuncture?
When I'm advertising, the book, I'm kind of leaving those people out.
Yeah.
I'm not targeting like I'm trying not to target acupuncturists because they can't, it's just like, I guess it's probably how the acupuncturists feel. They don't like that chiropractic can even do acupuncture, to be quite honest, because they spent 4 years doing it just like we did it. So when a PT starts adjusting the neck and the lower back, sometimes you're like, hey,
little territorial
seminar.
Yes. Yeah.
So they kind of have, not all, but there's definitely that sentiment. So I'm a little, a little nervous about it. And it's just like, look, when you're there and you're at the source, you learn some things, you pick up some things. But the nice thing I have noticed from my series that I did on the podcast, you go to 4 different acupuncturists, you're going to get 4 different treatments for the same thing. There might be some overlap, but there's so many points, and your theory might be different. You may have trained with somebody who learned a different way, and so they have their favorite points. So it just meant that there's different ways to get to the same.
And you know what I think too, Justin, is 2 things. One is acupuncture is a luxury item, and not everybody can afford it. And so this is a way for people to experience a form that is very related to true acupuncture and can get the results and all of that without having to try to find, $1,000 to come up with for 4 visits. And I think the other thing is too, is there is an accessibility issue. There's lots of people who don't have access to an acupuncturist for whatever reason. Either they can't get out of the house or there isn't one close by or whatever. So this resource is going to be amazing. And what I love about our pre-conversation is I think the content in this book is so adjunctively supportive to anything else people might be doing. So maybe they are going to the chiropractor or the PT, or they're seeing an orthopedist or whatever. This work is something they can apply themselves. It empowers them. It gives them incredible results. And I just think it's really, really great work from what we've been talking about so far. So thank you for putting it out there too. Yeah.
DIY.
That's right. DIY.
Do it yourself.
That's right. And I think, and there's power in that, right? Like I really, heal thyself. I do think there's power in that. And I think there's, as much as I have been guilty of getting a little edgy when I hear PTs are adjusting or whatever, but there's room in the space for everybody. We have hardly tapped into the population as an alternative cumulative between acupuncturists and chiros and homeopaths and naturopaths. We're not tapping the amount of population we should be yet. So more the better. And thank you for putting it out there. Okay.
Well, like exactly like you said, if it's a 90-minute drive to find an acupuncturist, you're done. You're not going.
Yeah, you're not going. That's exactly right. So I think that's great. So acupuncture is typically using a needle, poking it into the skin. And this is my very remedial kind of lay description. There are meridians in the body that we are trying to address that have stagnant or stopped flow of energy through them. And acupuncture's premise is to reestablish proper flow through there. Or would you use the term qi, or what would you use for that? Okay.
She's technically the right term.
Okay. And so can you tell me what it is that you are talking about when you say needleless acupuncture? Because to me, acupuncture is all about the needles. So can you describe what you're talking about?
Probably a more accurate term would be acupressure.
Okay.
Now, needles, it's not safe for you to use those at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's put one by our eyebrow. Oh, and now it's in my eye.
Yeah.
You don't know. You can puncture a lung. You don't know what you're doing. So
Right.
that's just not going to work for the average person. So I was like, okay, what do other people use in the acupuncture realm? And when you look, I'll just show you. I have a couple things handy.
Okay.
You have this little probe, and it's just a tip. Tips are a little rounded tip, kind of like a ballpoint pen.
Yeah.
And you can put the pressure
on the point.
on it. And because
Okay.
it's spring loaded, it takes a certain amount of strength to push it down. That's enough strength to stimulate the acupuncture points, and you would hold it there for a while.
Okay.
And then you move on to the next point. And another option is called ear seeds. And these you would literally put on your ear is what they're for.
Okay.
And you just kind of rub them from time to time.
Okay.
So I kind of modified it and said, look, after you use something like this, the probe, use an ear seed, put it on the spot for like an hour, and then just kind of rub them every now and then. And that's the most basic thing that you can use. It's the cheapest way to go. We do have an alternative, and we can talk about it later because I have a whole analogy about it.
Okay. Okay. Good. So basically, we're kind of exchanging we're addressing the point, but we're using a pressure instead of a puncture.
Correct.
Okay. Great. And so, tell me a little bit about what motivated you to write the book, and the what is in the book. What are we going to be getting when we order this book?
Okay. The motivation was I'm around it all day.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. I actually, the guy who I bought the clinic from in Colorado, I bought a clinic and I sold it. He left all of his acupuncture stuff, like all the books and everything. So I was like, okay, so I have this, so I brought it with me. And I'm around it all day. And then, in America, we have these charts for dermatomes or trigger points. And really, you can just Google it. And after about a couple hours, you would kind of know what the trigger points are throughout the body.
Yes.
So that's what we have here all the time of like meridian charts, treat this, treat that, plus what I'm seeing. So I was like, okay, let me find the most common places, where there's overlap, which ones do I see that they're always stimulating. I started kind of jotting things down and started asking questions and stuff. So this book, it's not a theory book. It's not going to talk about chi. It's not going to talk about the 5,000 years ago and then Professor Wong did this. It's none of that stuff.
Okay.
It's all protocols. It's the 40 conditions. You got a headache. Here are the points. Here's the description. Here's a picture with all the points. So you're reading it. You see the picture. You look at your skin. Okay. I got it. Let me stick it here.
So
then
super
I move on to
practical. Got it. Super, super practical. And you know what I love about that? Josh Axe put out, there's a million books on essential oils. Josh Axe put out an ancient healing book that it's exactly what you're describing. It's so practical. You can flip to a condition and it tells you herbs and oils related to that, treating that particular condition. So simple. And I use it all the time.
It's the secret sauce that nobody wants to give you.
No, and it's true. People want to hold on to this information, and so I think it's really, really great that someone who does like to do a lot of self-care at home, has a particular condition that hasn't responded to something else. This could be kind of a missing link for them, which is awesome.
Google it. Google something. They're always like, "Oh, just put it right here."
Yeah,
That's it. That's all I had to do. Why did I go to school for 4 years? I mean, for one point, you're like, of course, because it's not just one point that you need to stimulate.
No,
that's what's on our minds.
And we're certainly not saying we're qualifying people as acupuncturists, but we are giving them a small view at some things that they can do for themselves, some applications they can do for themselves that can be very, very helpful and can give them a better quality of life if they are suffering some kind of chronic condition. So what would you say are the top 4 things that people ask you about the most in regard to this home treatment?
It's going to be, the conditions are anxiety, back pain, insomnia, so they can't sleep good, or headaches. Okay.
And that, to me, from a chiropractic standpoint, I agree with you 100%. That's 80% of my practice, right? And and so that's people
what we do.
Yeah, people are suffering that stuff. Yeah. And for me as a chiropractor, I love the idea of someone having some tools they can have at home to balance and support the work that I'm doing in the office too. Like, I'm all for quicker and faster results. So that's great. So headaches, back pain, anxiety, insomnia, right?
Right.
Okay. So Let's talk a little bit more about the book. They can't get it on Amazon right now. But they can order it can they get it from the link you gave me earlier, or is that just they can get it from that link?
That link is for the free protocols. So that's the try before you buy it.
Did you say free? Do you want to tell me a little bit more about that? What are you talking about, Justin?
Well, the book is not $20. So for some people, they're like, wait, a book's $20. You're like, well, yes, but a textbook style is not $20.
Right.
And so people need to get their feet wet and kind of experience what does it look like? What is it going to feel like? So I created like some giveaways so that they can have protocol, like what do I do? How do I do it?
Yeah.
The pictures, the descriptions. So it's kind of like you get a miniature version of the book and it's the top 4 conditions. And that's what the link that's right there. Now, all you have to do is replace in a protocol with acupuncture.
Okay.
And you can actually purchase the entire book.
Okay, great. So adoctorsperspective.net/N as in Nancy, A as in Apple protocol will get anybody who's listening, if they want to check this thing out, they can get 4 free conditions and the treatment protocols that go with them. That's pretty awesome. And then if they actually want to check out the book, they just do /acupuncture, correct?
Correct.
Okay, very cool. So a little bit more, and we're going to come back to a little bit more about the book, but so if somebody is brand new to acupuncture/pressure, what is your elevator explanation of how does this stuff work and why does it work?
Okay. That's the part that I find different. It's kind of like chiropractic. It's like, well, what exactly are you doing?
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to explain like what you're doing. But like you said before, they talk about like it's stagnant energy and all this. I got a feeling it's more like what's that stuff called? Fascia.
Yeah, like fascial issues.
Fascia, nerve endings, and those types of things. And so for whatever reason, they mapped it out, through all these hundreds and thousands, not hundreds of thousands, but
thousands.
And they just found that, when they stimulate this area, it will go to something, and then all of a sudden, like, wow, my stomach pain is going away. I'm not dizzy anymore. Right. And they just found that these points will do that. So it's not the greatest explanation, and so I'm not trying to.
No. That's okay. And I think kind of and I'm with you too. I think it's very. I've even had acupuncturists try to explain it, and they have a hard time. So I think if I'm hearing you correctly, there are mapped meridians of the body, and there are points all along these meridians, and they're all connected. And so that's why when you put a point on the foot, it may connect to liver because it's in that path. And is that correct so far?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And whether it is energy flow, fascial restrictions, nerve underfiring or impediment, whatever it is, that doesn't matter, because what we know is that by applying pressure to those points, it can connect to other areas of the body and help create better flow, loss of restriction, and healing in that area, right?
So why is it that I can treat the entire body through the ear?
Yeah.
Right.
Like all of because there's all meridian points all along the ear that relate to all parts of the body, correct? Okay. Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah.
And then here's something that's interesting is I went to tour a hospital one time, and this person was doing some interesting things. And I was like, well, I was having a little bit of a tingling in my hand, and he goes, oh, okay. It was this hand, and he starts putting needles in this one.
Oh yeah, and I've had that happen in acupuncture before too.
Yeah, they're like it's like
completely
the opposite side, the opposite. Yeah. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
He goes, it works. I was like, that works too. I was like, all right, so you can do the same side, the opposite side, the foot. You can do the hand. That's just like.
Well, and I think some of that is, where, like we in chiropractic, that's why it's 4 years of education, postgraduate education is to understand the deep underpinnings of the whole concept. But for some basic, non-invasive pain relief or condition relief, this makes sense to me. I don't think like you say, if I'm putting pressure here to help a headache, I don't think I have to know all of the other scientific background and deep inner thinkings of why the connection is there. My body is going to know whether it helps or not. So, and what's beautiful about it, it's non-invasive, which means that there's very little or no risk. And so I like that part of it too, is because the last thing we want to do is anything extreme that's going to cause anybody any more harm than they're already in, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's right. So, Dr. Justin, tell me, the price of the book is $297, correct? Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah, $297. Now, as we said, it's sort of a textbook style, but not textbook academic-wise, textbook content-wise. So you're getting a ton of information, very clear protocols, and I think there's a lot to it. But there's also something else you include with the book for that price. What is that?
I include the probe and a certain amount of the ear seeds, so that way you just get the book and you can get started. Because there's nothing worse. Because even when you get the downloads,
yeah,
you still are like, so what do I get? How am I supposed to do this?
How do I do this? Right.
And so whenever people go to there, after you sign up, it's like, hey, there's a little sales pitch for, hey, if you want this, or if you want the electric acupuncture pin to get the best, quickest results, and stuff like that, you can go ahead and buy it because you're going to need something anyway.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And so you did say that you've got the pressure pin thing, and then is that an electrical one that you were talking about?
Yeah, let me just hit on that for a second.
Sure.
Have you ever, if you've been to a chiropractic office or a physical therapist office, you've had these little machine and they put the pads on your muscles, it shocks your muscles and it makes them contract and makes them feel good.
So right? Electric stim, right? Yeah.
Electric. We have at the office, they put the needles in and then they hook you up to a acupuncture version. So it clips on like a jumper cable for a car.
Yeah.
And so if you put it on your booty's jiggling.
Yeah.
Right? It's jiggling like that.
Yeah.
And then after the treatment, they unplug you or take the pads off. And we also, as a chiropractor, we could sell to the patients a miniature version run on a 9-volt battery that they can use at their house.
I see.
True?
Cool.
So this is the portable TINS version.
I see.
Battery powered, puts electricity through the point.
Perfect. So you're combining acupressure with TENS, which can amplify the result. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay,
correct.
That's very cool. And for those of you that have ever, many of you have heard of, like, there's a TENS unit you can use at home for pain relief. It's basically like a nerve interrupter. It just tells the nerve to like calm down. And so what a great combination of doing that with the particular acupressure points. So that's very cool. You know what else I think this is kind of cool for is, other forms of practitioners, be it, psychotherapists to massage therapists to whatever, to use this as an adjunct as well. Like, I mean, it's just another kind of protocol they can add, which is super, super cool. And I love that. What's that?
Do you know what code laser is?
Yeah.
So you can buy code laser, and usually, depending on your company, they can screw on a tip that cones it down.
And you can
acupuncture with laser as a practitioner.
Oh, that's really cool.
Not
too.
Affordable for at-home people.
No, not affordable for at home. But so let's just recap. So it's Needleless, not Needless, Acupuncture, and this is a book you have just released. But you've written another book. What's your other book called? Today's Choices, Tomorrow's Health. Awesome. And that is kind of a wellness-based book that you wrote. How long ago did you write that one?
St. Patrick's Day of 2017. It was released.
Awesome. That's great. And then you have the podcast, that's The Doctor's Perspective, or A Doctor's Perspective. And now your new release, Needleless Acupuncture. And in it is the 40 conditions that you can work on at home through a very clear guide of what points to hit and, how to approach it and the kind of adjunctive stuff that you suggest for that. So I think that's fantastic. And I've learned a few basic acupressure points, but this would just be like that on like supersized, all sorts of great information. Do you have anything that you want to add? We'll talk one more time about the 4 free protocols that you are offering, but is there anything else you want to add before we kind of wrap things up today?
Yeah, I would like to anchor the price a little bit so people know,
Okay.
like, wait, that seems like a lot.
Yeah, of
So
course. It
a
doesn't
lot
to
of
me
people,
because I get what's in it, but go ahead. Yeah.
yeah. So if you're talking about time, what's your time worth? I know some people are like, my time's not worth that much. But
Yeah.
for other people, they're like, I don't want to drive an hour and spend an hour at the office. That's a 2-hour commitment. How am
Yeah.
I supposed to take off work for
Yeah.
2 or 3 weeks at 2 hours a pop? Good luck with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have access. So you
Mm-hmm.
can drive 90 minutes to the office a
Yeah.
couple times a week. That's really not practical either. So that's going to save you a ton of time to be able to just do it in your house, maybe
Yeah.
before the kids wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
And then as far as like the cost, the 3 visits to your chiropractor or acupuncturist in this book's covered,
Yeah.
but it's going to take you like 2 weeks to actually do an entire series of treatments. So right there, you just do one series on your headache. You've
Yeah.
paid for the book, and now
Yeah.
you can try something like vertigo or
Yeah.
sinus problems, or like, oh, I've got all these other strange conditions. So like, I think people, they download the protocols for free,
Yeah.
and then they see a list like in the back of the download. I list all 40 things that you can treat. So it's gonna be one of those things you look at and you're like, huh,
Hey,
well,
Jennifer.
I'll try something else.
Yeah.
Let's try one of these other ones that they have. I only bought
Yeah.
it for this, but then you can
Yeah.
try other things and really feel like you really got your money's worth, and your entire
Yeah.
family can use it.
No,
So
that makes sense. And so we are throwing out there back pain, anxiety, insomnia, and headaches as a chance for people to kind of taste test this whole thing. And so I'm going to just put that back up again. That's the link you want to go to if you want to check this whole thing out. I've been talking to Dr. Justin Trosclair. I know a couple people just joined about Needleless Acupuncture. He's just released a book on it. And we're kind of talking about more of an acupressure model where you can do some of this work at home, get some great benefits, deal with 40 common conditions that often are somewhat resistant to treatment. So great to try some stuff at home first. And that's what we're talking about today. So Justin, I want to thank you so much for joining me. Dr. Justin, again, has his own podcast called A Doctor's Perspective. So do check that out. I'll put the link below. And in the meantime, we will also just make sure all the links are below to the book and to the freebies so that you can take advantage of that. And Justin and I will be kind of stalking the comments section to make sure we answer any questions that come up. And I look forward to connecting again with you sometime in the future. Justin, I know our paths have kind of just been consistently crossing, which has been great. And so we'll look forward to chatting with you in the future. I thank you so much for joining me today.
you want to hear one cool thing?
Sure.
When I got here, I didn't realize this. People come in for those conditions, more musculoskeletal stuff. The
Yeah.
doctors here are like, I could give you a prescription, but I'm not. You're going to just go to the acupuncture department and see the foreigner, get some
Go
acupuncture.
see the foreigner. Go see the
It is
foreigner.
amazing. Like, it blows my mind. I was blown away, like, how often they're like, the patients too are like, I don't want medicine. Just stick me
It's
with something.
great.
Like, this is
We
crazy.
need more of that as a country, don't we?
Yeah, it's just cool to see the paradigm shift of what do you go to first.
Yeah, it's really great.
So,
Linda,
thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, no problem. I just say thank you to Linda for joining us today. She just left us a comment thanking us. And thanks to Jennifer. And I can't see who the other person is there that's hanging with us right at the moment. But thank you for joining us, and to everybody else who watches post-production. And we'll see you again soon, Dr. Justin. Best of luck with your new book.
Thank you so much.